Well, welcome to another episode of Midlife Moxie. I'm Gail,
And I'm Jen.
and I just should tell Jen and everyone else my give a crap meter is broken today. So this may be our most interesting podcast episode yet. I'm telling you. Crazy weekend, a little bit tired, a little bit sunbaked, but we've got some good stuff for y'all today. And we're gonna for our two listeners, we don't want to
No,
hurt
no,
anyone.
no. We have five now. We have five.
Oh, five,
Just had
five.
another person show up.
Yay. Hello,
Yes. Yes.
five.
We have five.
Just fair warning. We're going to get in it today because today's topic is going to be about neutrals. But the question is, are you being lazy or
Mm.
scared or afraid to express yourself? So you're just wearing a closet full of neutrals, or are you really wearing them the right way? Because there is a right way to wear them and there's some wrong ways to wear them.
Right.
So we're going to get into it today. Jen, do you have
Yeah.
a lot of neutrals in your closet?
I have a ton of neutrals in my closet. I
Which one?
love neutrals. I have a problem with neutrals. I mean, not
Oh,
problem.
no.
But I
Which
mean,
one?
here's the thing. I wear neutrals, like all neutrals, most of the time in fall, winter. I don't know why. I think just because Camel Brown speaks to me and creams and ivories, and it all just feels very cold weather for my color type. But I don't wear a lot of neutrals in the summer and spring. Like I do, but it's mostly like just to balance things out, like on the bottoms, that kind of stuff. You? You're a black and white girl, so
I am a black and white girl, but black can be a lazy choice. It can be a lazy choice for a lot of people,
yeah.
but it happens to be that black and white are two of my best colors. So I know sometimes when we talk about signature colors, we think about colors that are not neutrals. We think about what I call palette colors,
Right.
colors that, pink, orange, green. But your neutral that are best for you could actually be a signature color for you, depending on
Mhm.
how you are colored up, what your color type is. Like for me, black and white are statement colors, but there is definitely a way that I wear them. It is not thoughtless. But so let's
Yeah.
get into that.
And I
I've
mean, it also comes down to personal style, right? I
Speaking of
mean,
black and white, come on.
oh, speaking of black and white, yes, there's the
Speaking of
puppy.
black and
You
white,
have and a little bit of gray, just a little bit, just a little touch of
Lucy
gray.
needs some petting, but she's going to keep on. So Lucy
Well,
will join
mine's asleep at my feet, so I don't think we'll see Eddie today on
us.
video.
Y'all, it's
Um,
funny because our dogs match us.
so
Jen's dog is camel toned.
oh yes, oh yeah, yeah, he's totally bright, warm, medium. He's super cute.
Mine is both our dogs are black, white, and gray.
All right, so before we dive into neutrals and give you guys some killer tips on how to show up your best, we had asked you in the last few episodes to leave comments and to leave questions for us, and boy, did you ever. So thank you so much for all
Thank
the
you.
comments. For the most part, they were all very positive and it was really,
I
really sweet.
like to go through the negative ones too someday.
But there is a couple questions. One of them was a request for us to speak about capsule wardrobes for the spring or summer. That will need to be a different episode because I think it's a full episode on talking about that. And that's ideal for packing for travel and
This
stuff.
is comments on that involving today's topic that
It
we will.
it very well will be, we can
Uh,
definitely touch on it for sure. Yeah, because the foundations, right? And then the second thing was a question I think we can actually answer in this episode. And so I'm just going to summarize. I don't have it in front of me, but the question, what we were talking about, um, moving your palette into the summer season, and we talked a lot about colors. If you warmed up with sun, colors that might flatter you more in the summer versus winter. Like, that was the topic. And the question was, can you be cooler in the summer? Because this person has very warm hair, but when she pulls it back, she says her skin is fair and feels kind of cool. All right. At first, I thought, well, this is a simple question, but it's actually a little bit more complex than that. And Gail and I just actually kind of riffed on it before this
It's
call.
funny when we do that because sometimes we're on a topic and we think, well, that's a simple answer. And then the more we talk about it, the more
Yeah.
complicated it gets just
So,
when we're working on things. And this is a nuanced arena we work in.
mhm.
And things live in spectrums and measurements. So there's rarely a yes or no answer.
That's exactly right. So here's my response, and I will explain it more on video because it's easier to do that than sit there and type. So first of all, the comment, do I get cooler? My answer is no, just because you, um the person didn't change herself in any way possible. So her color palette is exactly the same, whether she pulls her hair back or not. Okay. And honestly, your color palette is still the same, even if you tan or not. But the key difference here is what colors in your palette work best for you at different times. So when she pulls back her very warm hair, it sounds like she starts to appear very neutral versus dominantly warm because now all we see is maybe a little bit of hair around her face before it's pulled back into like a ponytail or something. And Gail brought up a good point. Like, what if you're wearing a hat? The same kind of thing. So hair, especially if it's longer, is a very dominant feature with your coloring. Gail has very black hair, and when it's down, it's a very dominant feature. Mine, well, I'm just very monochromatic, so it's not necessarily going to change whether I wear it up or down. But for a lot of people, it's a very dominant feature. So if you pull it back or you hide it with a hat, you didn't change your color type, but you did change maybe your level of contrast, and you might need something different as your clothing to sort of balance that out. But if you ever notice, Gail and I talk a lot about balance. When she talks about makeup, talks about balance in the thirds of your face. We talk about balance in the clothes and your hair, balance with makeup, and everything's balance, right? So if you have dominantly warm hair, for example, and you normally like to wear say brightish medium type colors, and it kind of balances out your hair, and then you pull your hair back. Well, it's not that you can't wear those colors anymore, but you might notice that you might be able to get away with a lighter color than you normally do because you kind of hid everything. Or the opposite is true. Wearing something slightly darker might be necessary to bring back that mm, overall liveliness of color that you kind of hid underneath a ponytail or a hat. Gail, and I'm going to let you talk in a second, Gail, but one more thing before I finish my thought. Gail's brought up a good point several times, especially on our Style Masters calls, where when she wears a lot of like black and white, she had said, right? Well, when she wears her hair down, especially on video, you won't really ever see her wear black because her hair kind of blends into her top, and
Fair.
yeah,
My
well, the
tag.
chair, right. But there's not a lot of contrast or interest there. It doesn't look bad. No, not bad, just different. A little bit calmer look. Wearing white with that same black hair when it's down increases that contrast, brings back that kind of energy that you might not have had before. So that's kind of what I'm talking about is if you're taking that dominant hair color and you're hiding it, you might need something to sort of rebalance you a little bit.
And what I will add to that is, since we are talking to our five midlife ladies, um, as we're in midlife, a lot of times we will see thinning around the hairline, and that's where our grays start to pop, especially if it's time for a touch up of our little rootsy tootsies. So when we were younger, we might have pulled our hair back and still had a very strong dark frame. But like you can see, as how mine thins, that frame is a little diminished. It's a little not as strong as it used to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that may be part of what she's also witnessing, because when my hair's back, my hairline is a little thinner, it's a little softer, and that gives a different look. Also, makeup may need to shift in
I was
this
going to
ring.
say, yeah.
And especially like if you're wearing a hat, you're going to not only have color, but you're going to get shadowing over your face, which can impact how things look and what you may need to do. And like this weekend, I had my hair up, but I had on a visor that was dominantly white with a more clear visor top. So surrounding my face was actually white instead of the black of my hair.
Right.
So
Very
that
different.
allowed me to wear some pretty bright colors. I didn't need a lot of depth with that. It was very clean and crisp looking. And you can also do things around your face, like with jewelry that will bring color, definition, and if you need it, contrast back up around your face. So we hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So thank you for the question. And
Yeah.
now that you know that we will answer your questions on the episode, please ask us and comment more. We love the engagement. It really opens up our brain as far as ideas that we can bring to you on these podcasts. So let's talk about neutrals, Gail.
So let me just be clear.
Mhm.
Our point today is to get you to not be lazy or play it safe with neutrals. Neutrals are great. Neutrals have a place. And there's no neutral that's just awful except maybe khaki. That's on my list of don't like it. I just don't like it. Um, there's just so much better shades and tones. Now, having your go-to, there is nothing wrong with that, but we want your go-to to be your go-to, not the world's go-to. Because if you walk into your closet and there's nothing but black, khaki, and navy, that's going to be very, very boring. Neutrals play a role, and we're going to talk about some of the roles that they play and finding your best ones, but how you wear them, that is eye-catching and stylish versus just a boring choice that was thoughtless. And when it comes to style, that's kind of the essence of what style is thought. Thought is given to our look. Thought is given to how we pull things together and wear things together. And it sometimes just takes just a smidge of thought to make something go from blah to wow. I mean,
Yeah.
the difference is so subtle. Now, Jen, since you're our color guru, would you speak to and address the subtleties that exist in neutrals? Because to me, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking, because y'all, we don't plan these out very hard.
No, I don't.
We're just doing our thing here, and y'all get to ride along. How fun for you. Um, like, let's talk about the color beige. The color beige is an entire segment of colors, and there are some very subtle differences in those colors. When we talk about even navy, there's a
Yes.
lot of shades of navy. So let's talk about beige first, because
Beige.
people
All right, let's talk about beige. All right, so
beige.
beige, let's describe it really quickly. It's not brown. It's more of like a light brown that has maybe a little bit of a coolness quality to it, like a blue. It's beige. We'll just say light brown for now, beige. Not the problem, the nuance is it can be you can take a golden brown and add white and have a warm beige, or you can have a brown that you add white to, and then a little bit of just a touch of blue, and you get a cool beige that starts to lean towards taupe, but nevertheless, it still reads as beige. Beige is the word that can describe anything from khaki to taupe and anything in between. In my opinion, it's like if you can think of brown, just go lighter, and now you're talking beige.
We're talking everything from
Yeah,
cream, sand,
I think so.
wheat, khaki, camel. What else would people call it? Taupe.
The taupes, I think are considered beige easily.
Some people even consider blush in there, which has got a touch of pink in it, which is not my favorite color, but okay. So
Yeah.
tell us like the difference in wheat or sand and taupe.
So, all right, I want to get a little geeky, okay? This is what I do. This is what I do, my listeners. So if you don't like color theory, you're not gonna like me. But but this will help me explain things. So brown. Brown is created by even mixture of red, yellow, and blue. So just imagine red, yellow, blue paint. You even mix it all together, you get the perfect brown. Okay. All right. Now, if you go a little bit more yellow in that mixture, you get a warm golden brown. And if you add a little bit more blue in that mixture, you get a cool brown, which even though technically brown's still considered warm, you actually get this sort of cool brown. It doesn't have a lot of golden to it anymore. We're starting to get into like I always think of a brown skinned woman where they have a little blue almost underneath peeking through their skin sometimes, something like that. Okay. So now if we go light, right, which means we're going to add white now and lighten it. So get a lot of white gets you into those sands and khakis and those lighter taupes. So think about it this way. If you just have that even mix of those three colors, so the perfect brown, and now you've gone much lighter, you've got like a really even neutral beige kind of. But if you add a little bit of yellow, we start to get into those sands and warm khakis. And if you added a little bit more blue instead, you start to get into those taupes, which is why taupe is very often considered a cool neutral because it's got that little bit of blue, sometimes even pink. Like it reads cool.
Yeah, kind of a little gray in it.
It's got a little gray in it, exactly. And that, by the way, is how you make it's how you make mud and gray in art. So when you start doing that, mixing up a blue in there, you start to muddy things
I
up. You
have
get
to
that.
start sparkling when you talk about that. Just like, ooh. She gets like that when she talks about art, the way I talk about makeup.
Yeah,
So
no, it's exactly the same. She sits there and starts sharing with me like all of her like 18 new colors of lipstick. And I'm like, that's so great. But oh my
you can
God,
hear
Gail, let me show you my new pens.
like,
And she's like, I don't understand what you're saying to me right now.
okay, it's good.
That's so great.
Yeah, let's see what we get. I care less about my makeup collection over here that I show her all
But
the time.
but it's
So I
just
want you to see that subtlety really matters. So,
yeah,
like when we talk about navy and we talk about blacks, there's a big difference in black and gray. I don't look very good in gray. It just gets weird on me.
right,
Gray can have other colors added, some that make it get a little blue sometimes and get
right.
that the bondo-y weird put that to repair your car kind of gray. Um, you talk about that mud they put on cars before they paint them. And also navy can be bright. It can be
Yes.
very, very dark. It can get a little more towards royal.
Mhm.
So all these colors live on a spectrum.
Yes.
But I know that a lot of women love beige and they feel it's safe and you can't go wrong. But we're here to tell you it can go very, very. And I'll give you a good example. I was recently shopping with a client and we were looking at a nude heel for her.
Right.
And she's in the warm category. And we found the most beautiful light camel patent leather
Pretty.
stiletto pointy toed heel. I mean,
Whoa.
this shoe was a work of art. But over there beside it, I noticed there was another patent leather nudie beige shoe, but it had a touch of that pink in it.
Yeah.
It almost had
There's
a
that
pink
taupe again. Yep.
dress. And I thought that shoe was so ugly compared to the one that was just a bit warmer,
Hmm.
had this richness to it. So, y'all, little differences can make a big difference in how it carries forth in a style and whether it's not for you, because that pinky peachy beige would have looked horrible on this woman and with
Right.
her clothing. But also, when we look at textures, materials, and patterns, it can really impact the way colors translate. So you can have a beige, let's say camel, linen pantsuit, head to toe camel. That is stunning because we've let some richness in with that camel, and that color plays really well with the texture of linen. Versus if that were just sand, it can lose a little something in the translation. Sand's still okay, but just taking a little further towards camel is so much better. So those minor adjustments can really, really matter. And then you take colors also a lot of times with beige, we will see a fabric that has white woven into it.
Right.
And that gets a little weird for some of you. Like if you are really high contrast, those fabrics that have marbling or weave where they bring other colors in, like they just don't look good on me. They look
It
like
softens. Yeah. Yeah.
and so, depending on whether you are have this very highly saturated color palette and you're very bright and deep, versus if you're very soft and maybe even warm, because where that can work is like if you are a soft, cool person who wants a
Yes.
neutral, sometimes adding a little white into one of these colors, and if you're not or let me back up and say if you're soft warm, but you're not dominantly warm, and y'all let me say it one more time because we get more questions about dominance than probably anything else. Dominance is the first thing we notice about you. It's the thing that overrides everything else. That's my street terms. What do you say scientifically, Jen?
No, I think it's exactly what you mean. It's you can have someone that's dominantly deep, meaning They have very dark eyes, very dark hair. They can have fair skin,
Okay.
but it
I'm prominently deep. It's the first thing you notice.
right. And so with that, it again, it doesn't change your color type. What it does is it when we do your analysis and when then Gail takes you and does your style, we're focusing on a different set of colors within your color palette that really complement that dominance. So, for example, dominantly warm, someone that has golden brown eyes, auburny brown, warm hair and a touch of warmth to their skin. Doesn't have to be overly warm, just a touch of warmth. They have no cool tones. So we customize those colors now, and that includes the neutrals, right? Because we will, if you're dominantly warm, some of the cool colors just aren't going to suit you. Gray suddenly doesn't work, even though a nice warm gray on someone like me actually works pretty well. So it's just, again, we look at that dominance as a feature to customize your colors even further, even more.
Now, here's the statement I will make about that. Dominance is telling you what has to be addressed first. It's the thing that has to be addressed. If you do not address dominance, you will miss the mark. That is the number one overriding thing for you. So for like me, it's depth. I mean, and if you're not sure, just think about how you describe people. Like if someone meets me and they're trying to tell someone else how to find me or what I look like, they'll say, "Oh, she's got really dark hair." I mean, that's always their first descriptor. She's tall, she's bigger girl, really dark hair. So if you have someone who say is warm, but warmth is not their dominant, so their skin goes a little more towards middle ground, they can wear some of those fabrics with a little white woven in, or they can wear a beige and white stripe. Like I pulled that for a client yesterday. It was actually a light brown and white stripe, which is very unusual combination. But that girl can actually wear that because her skin is not super warm. And it's actually going to be very flattering on her, more so than a color maybe like mustard that is a little too much for her, a little too warm. So it's these subtleties that really matter. Now let's talk about how we put all that together. First of all, you need to know your best neutrals.
Yes.
Like I'm pretty clear. They are white and black. And those should definitely be in your closet, right, Jen?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because, and we'll touch on that question, that request of capsules. By the way, if you don't know what a capsule is basically a small set of clothes. In this example, small set of clothes, usually with a limited color palette, that all can be mixed and matched, and therefore make it really nice to have for everyday wear and as well as packing for a trip. You have a nice little capsule.
I really hate it because it's just, to me, it's as limiting, but it has its place.
It has its place, especially when you're first getting started, right, Gail? I mean, when you're first getting started, put whatever label you want on it, but you're going to start out with your foundation. This is where the neutrals come in. This is what Gail's about to say, right? The neutrals, your best neutral is absolutely like, imagine it like like the foundation. It is the backbone to your closet that you can, if you want, if you only had one neutral, if you only had one, you're going to have more, but if you only have one, you can build an entire wardrobe just around that foundation of that neutral and have great success.
Yeah, and they work very well for travel. I do them for travel, and
Yes.
I work that way when I travel. Like when I travel, I'm typically going to work around one neutral,
Right.
and do palette colors, because then that limits my accessories, my shoes, and my makeup that go with that. Versus if I'm trying to live in all the four corners of my palette, that doesn't work very well for travel. So let's talk about this. Okay, so even though black is my great neutral, I'm not going to have only black shoes.
Right.
But I am going to have a black heel, a black sandal. I'm going to have a black knee length skirt, a good pair of black slacks, and that's definitely a t-shirt color I'm going to have. So there's going to be basics within my wardrobe that you should definitely have in your best neutral.
Right.
But let's not have them just because we rolled into a store and we're avoiding color.
Right.
We don't understand it. We don't know which one to get. Or the one that breaks my heart, Jen, I don't want anybody to notice me.
Yeah. Right. Color can be scary. Sure.
It's very common for midlife women to put themselves in all neutrals because they either don't know what to do or they don't really want to be seen.
Right.
Sometimes that's around weight, it's around self-confidence, it's around feeling like they've changed, their hair's graying, they don't look the same. Y'all, we
Right.
deserve to look our best. You can look fantastic in a neutral, but let's talk about how to do it. First, like I'm saying, they need to be sprinkled into your basics. Your best neutral should be there, even if it's beige. But we need to know which beige. So, like Jen, in your closet, what do you have in your best neutral?
I have ivory and cream, and I've already expressed this many times. I have an ivory problem because I have entirely too many ivory sweaters. But ivory and cream, that's my best light neutral. We always find your best light neutral because, well, you need balance. Even if you're a dark person, you still need a light neutral. You will find camel brown, especially in sweaters and warmer weather and cold weather type of clothing for me. You'll see that. You'll see a charcoal gray, a warm charcoal gray. Like one of my favorite sweaters actually has like almost a cream background if you really look at it. Um, and those are my best neutrals in my closet. So for the summer, I actually have olive green as a neutral for my and I have green eyes, so it works really well as a top and bottom. So there you
That's
go.
so funny because there is not one beige or olive piece in my closet. Not
No,
none.
no, you should never do that. Don't do that.
Hate it. So instead of just throwing beige in there and calling it neutrals, we want you to become very thoughtful. The same thing for navy and black. Also, people get caught up in, they'll say, don't I need a black dress, a navy dress, a beige? Do I need all that? No, no, you do not need all the neutrals. And when it comes to those dark neutrals, you need to know which one is your best. Is it deep charcoal gray? Is it truly black? Is it navy and which form of navy, or is it a dark, dark brown? And for a lot of you, unless you've got very deep, cool coloring, it is a chocolatey brown color. And that's perfectly appropriate for pretty much anywhere you would
Oh
need
my
to wear.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine? And if you're disagreeing right now in your head, listeners, imagine let's say you have a formal event and you find a beautiful dress in a satiny color that is the dark brown. Now it has become the most elegant color, so beautiful. And it's a darker color, so it translates as a formal color. It doesn't have to be black. It doesn't have to be blue. And no, you don't have to wear dark colors to a formal event. We're making a point here. Like it can be a very beautiful color. So don't just assume brown is boring. Don't do
No,
that.
brown can be amazing. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about
Yeah.
how this looks come together. But what
Yes.
I want you to do, five listeners, is when you go into the store, break the habit of going straight for the neutral. Why
Mhm.
do you think stores always offer clothes in khaki and navy and black? And like if you go to any rounder like of pants, they're going to always have those colors.
Right.
And a good example are some stores like Quince and Nottingham that are they're kind of boutique kind of brands that offer a specific type of clothing. Quince is like what's the word, like off label is a way to put it,
Okay.
or generic. So they have great cashmere sweaters and they have great linen pants, but they're only going to have a few colors. And
Hmm.
it's almost always
Black.
khaki, black,
Yep.
navy, maybe
White.
white. So I get frustrated trying to shop there because they've got this core, but it's a smart retail move because they know a lot of us are going to go in there and just grab that neutral.
Hmm. I agree.
Where you really miss it is with shoes. Because some of you have told yourself, I'll just get a black shoe. It'll go with everything.
Right.
It'll go with everything in my closet. It probably not
Uh-huh.
going to go with everything in your closet. And
Yep.
you run the risk of what we call ending with a thud on your outfit. Black does not match everything, actually. It does not look good with brown. And I don't think it looks good with navy. And there's a lot of high end stylists really extolling the virtues of navy and black right now. I don't like it, never have liked it. Um, there's an occasional time with a men's suit, a black shoe might work, but it's just not a great look. There's no contrast there. So this idea that no matter what, I can just put on a black
Right.
shoe, especially for some of you who are warm, that is just totally wrong. And it will kill the entire outfit.
Absolutely. Yep. I mean,
Can
putting a black shoe into my wardrobe would be let's just put it this way. Your eye goes to the one thing that brings either the highest contrast or the most different. So if I'm wearing an ivory sweater and camel brown pants and then black shoes, you're just going to literally notice those shoes and not me or the outfit because the shoes are so wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be really, really bad.
Yes.
The same thing goes with just always choosing like navy pants and thinking that goes with all your tops. No, no, it doesn't. I've seen you out there at the mall. It doesn't look good. These colors are not fix-alls. Even white doesn't look fantastic with everything. Like it doesn't look particularly great with sand. There's a time when it can. There's always a
I think it might. I don't know. I mean,
it depends. It's got to be the right look. Like it needs to be linen. It needs to be summery, and you got to have
and
some
I mean, it needs to be right contrast for that person too. Because me wearing
black
black and white.
earrings or something. But for the most part, to just say white goes with everything, you can get yourself a
Yeah,
little mixed up there.
right.
Um, so we want to be very careful with these choices and not let it be a default. Um, Now, let's talk about when some of these colors can be amazing. Okay. Imagine this woman. She has blue eyes, chestnut brown hair, and slightly warm skin. So she's a soft warm, most likely. Let's call her soft warm, medium, soft warm, deep. So she has a
Okay.
little bit of contrast.
And yes, blue eyes can still be on someone with warm undertones. Just
Yeah.
okay.
Imagine her in what we call a warm navy or a true navy, because the true navy is a neutral. And this, it's a dress and it's made out of linen and it's got little brown wooden buttons on it. And we pair that with a woven brown belt and give her a woven brown sandal. And then we throw her on a bag, maybe in a punchy orange raffia or something that's still not super bright because she is a soft girl. Or we even give her a bag that's like navy and cream in some type of natural fabric. That's going to be stunning. Those browns with that navy, and the navy has that texture with that linen, and that's tying in with her eyes. Y'all, that's navy done right.
Mm-hmm.
Navy twill pants that fade out and just look boring. That's navy done poorly. So you give us an example, like with your beiges, of it done well.
Beige is done well. So this is my opinion on things, right? So, because I know Gail is so much more creative when it comes to styling different types of pieces, but I will say you want to stay within your lane when you're blending in your beiges. So, for example, if you are someone that's warm, you want to stay within the creams, the beiges, the browns, the golden browns. You can go darker. And when you have that kind of monochromatic look, I think it's absolutely stunning and flexible if you think about it, because you don't need to go top to bottom in one particular order. But if everything is in that same family, you monochromatic looks can be very elegant and not boring. What's boring is if it off a little bit, like you found a weird t-shirt and then you're trying to, and that's not going to work. But if you have high quality, beautiful pieces like a cream blouse, camel, or even darker brown pants, a beautiful jacket that's tweed, maybe, and we're talking fall, winter, but that to me is done so very well, that if you were to put in a cool piece like navy, it would almost not work. You'd have to do something smart, like what Gail suggested, which is a weave of a cream or something like that to pull it in. So, and this is absolutely true too for cool. So if you are someone that's cool and you love beige and you love those cool beiges and taupes, it's the same thing. Just be careful how you mix things. White with a light taupe might be a little boring and weird. You want to still stay in that lane of cool neutrals, grays and blues to really kind of keep things um, harmonious, right? So there you go.
Yeah, and the devil is in the details. It really, really is. So, like, if you take those, we could take a camel top an exact match camel pant,
Oh
that
yeah.
makes it boring. But when you add in, like, say that blouse has gold buttons on it, and we add in a gold belt, or we add in a leopard print belt, something for some
Yes.
contrast texture, but we can still even do the shoe in the exact same color. We don't even have to have a pop at the bottom. What we would never want to do is put a very, very dark shoe with that,
Right.
unless we decide our accent was going to be black. Because can you wear beige and black together? Yes,
Absolutely.
be very metered out. So, for example, in that look, we would need some black and camel jewelry, probably a black belt, black shoes,
Right.
and a
Eye
bag.
travels. Right.
Yeah. So a lot of times with my clients who want to do something monochromatic, we'll choose an accent color and put it at the neckline, the waist, and the feet, and maybe in the bag, which bag kind of counts as the waist area, the midline, because that's where you're going to wear it on your body. And that creates interest, and it spreads that other color throughout the look and makes it feel pulled together and
Right.
sharp. It doesn't look like, oh, I put on an off-white top, a beige pant, and a
Right.
black shoe. That's a
No.
totally different situation.
Right.
We're working with the richness that's in that color, but that needs to be a color that is stunning on you.
Yes.
Also, I love breaking up monochromatic with a pattern or a print,
Yes.
like cheetah print, snake print. That can really make that beauty of the neutral come out more, because there's some comparison rather than just putting on an ordinary unexciting brown belt. If you're going to wear a brown belt with that look where we're doing head to toe camel, it needs to have texture, it needs to be reptile, it needs to be woven, it needs to have something special, or a special buckle, or maybe a suede. Because if you just put on a plain brown belt, it's just going to look
Right.
plain and brown and unsophisticated.
Right.
And that's kind of where we can get into with monochromatic looks. They either are a hit or a miss. And it's that sophistication, it's that attention to the detail that makes it sophisticated rather than makes it just look like, oh, here comes Miss Beige down the street.
Right. And let's I'm going to make this even simpler for people to understand, just in case they go into the closet and they're like, I like this outfit. What I don't understand why Gail is saying this is boring. Okay. And I'm going to just, if I'm going to just talk about art for a second because it's the exact same thing. Right. So you're looking at a painting and it's made with all kinds of browns and beiges and some cream in there. And it's just a landscape or something. It doesn't really matter what it is. And you could look at that and you're like, that's pretty, but it's not interesting. And it's because there's nothing that you're looking at that moment that takes your eye and guides you through the piece or really captures your attention to go, oh, that's so interesting. Now you take a little bit something darker, create a little bit of contrast or a little pop of color, like over there, all of a sudden, oh, wait. That's where your eye starts. Gail's talking about the exact same thing. If you have a monochromatic look, whether it's all one shade of beige or multiple, lights to darks, if you still need to add interest is, where do you want the eye to start, where do you want it to guide it through the whole piece, the whole outfit from head to toe. It could be your hair and makeup, by the way. It could be a piece of jewelry, it could be a brooch that on that beautiful sweater. But something needs to be added to create that final touch, that interest that makes it from boring to thoughtful and classy, right?
Yeah, because a lot of times I'll show my clients a dress that's a solid dress, like in a camel or some beige sand
Yeah.
color, and it comes with a tie belt that's the same color as the dress. And I always put in the comments, we'll change the belt. Well, changing the belt will take that outfit to a new place, because when you put those beautiful neutrals up against something else, then they look their best.
Yeah.
Now let's go back to texture for a minute
Yes.
too.
Texture is key.
And let's go back to kind of a little what we talked about last week. People have gotten really down this rabbit hole of what colors they should wear in summer and what colors they should wear in winter. Now, I get it. Light and bright and fun's always going to feel summery. But like, we're seeing these deep, rich tobacco browns, and
Yes.
they're in linen, and they're in lightweight fabrics that are just gauzy and just all these beautiful textured, lightweight fabrics. Now, if you want that to feel more like summer, I would add something on the lighter end of the scale with it, like a something that has that kind of macrame feel of wovenness in maybe a sand color, an off-white, a version of orange, versus in the winter when we're wearing those chocolatey browns, we do want to put them with a lot of animal print and maybe even deep burnt orange, which is fine for summer, but like I wouldn't put a lot of deep burnt orange leather on a outfit in the summer. If I could put a raffia belt, if I could put like I say, these wovens, these lightweights, and they're there. And that's what makes that color feel more summery and that whole outfit come together. It's just going to come together a different way than if we were adding a suede belt or, leather earrings and all that. For summer, let's go here to straw. Let's go over here to these other, to shells and even colors of pearls. Like did y'all know there are brown pearls? I'm kind of right now for some of my clients, and we got them and they're beautiful. So now let's talk about what to do if your closet is just full of black and navy and beige.
Oh dear. So
first of all, email support at your color and just say, help, I need you. Let's start there.
If your closet is full of all of the we'll air quote default neutrals, and without even saying out loud, you can be honest with yourself. You have most of them because you don't know what else to wear, or you've defaulted and you could do better. So first, we don't want you just to suddenly gut your closet and then have nothing to wear, especially if you're on a budget. Please don't do that. That's just making yourself feel bad for the clothes you have in your closet. That is not our goal. We just want you to wear your best. So the first thing would be, know your color type, know your color palette, have your color fan. If you don't have those things, well, then here's our pitch, our shameless pitch of please get a color analysis with us. Then for sure your best neutrals. And then you can start from there, and you can start small. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few neutrals in your closet that are good for you, that are flattering, that maybe even a couple that are your best. And then you can start to replace the other things and start to weed things out. And then you want to talk to Gail, because Gail's a master at this. But know your colors.
When I take on a new client, we pick a couple of neutrals and probably 3 palette colors. And that's where we start from.
Yeah.
And it depends on when in the season we start, which ones we start working with, and what Sherry has, what her life looks like. But we kind of got some little go-to trios that work well as a jumping off point, that are kind of no fail for someone with your coloring and all your attributes.
Right.
But we build strategically with those basics in our neutrals.
Right.
We also, with our neutrals, I'm going to encourage you to really shop for quality, because a beautiful wool, well-tailored, perfectly fitted trouser in camel is very different than a pair of khaki pants from Costco.
Yes.
Those are 2 different things. They read different, they wear different, they feel different. And I'm telling you, when it comes to a neutral like that, as long as your weight doesn't shift, you can have that pair of camel wool pants for years. And here's the other thing. You can wear something like that twice a week, because the way you style it up is going to be so very different. Like I recently got a new pair of pull-on Ponte pants. And if you've been around me for 5 minutes, you know my absolute love for Ponte as a fabric. If you don't know what Ponte is, it's sometimes called scuba, very similar. It's a thicker, and it really holds its shape. It does not fade. It does not peel. It does not. It is just now, can it be a little warm? Yeah, it's a man-made fiber. It's not linen. It's okay. But it can kind of hold you in a little bit. It'll smooth over lumps and bumps. It's a really good one. And they're wash and dry. Take it in your suitcase, hang it up when you get there. There's no ironing. There's no anything.
Right.
I love Ponte. Also, if you're a girl that goes up or down 5 or 10 pounds on the way, Ponte's your girl. She'll be there for
A
you.
little stretchy, a little stretchy.
You need her to, and she'll come back when you don't. And she's just a great fabric. So I recently got a cute little pull-on pair of Ponte pants that is a crop flare, and I will wear those probably till they fall off my body. And they weren't super expensive, but they were really they were a good weight. They were a good cut. They were good fit. Everything about those worked. Pieces like that in your neutrals will be workhorses in your wardrobe.
Yeah.
You can just bet probably every time I travel for the next year or two, those pants are probably going. They are going to be my go-to black pant anytime it's appropriate to be cropped. And those are the kind of pieces we're looking for. If you're going to get linen, get good quality linen. Make sure it's not too thin because that's going to wrinkle even more. Make sure it's got a little bit of to it. Make sure the color is not going to fade. Because that's what we get into with some of those beige pieces that are made out of cotton and twill and things like that. You get this weird fading, and it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look nice. And navy faded, the worst. It just looks terrible.
Right. You want nice quality pieces. You know, what's interesting is that when you start to commit to building a really lovely collection of basics that you can build endless outfits off of, and you commit to buying yourself nice quality pieces. And nice quality doesn't always mean expensive. Sometimes it does, but not always. Sometimes you just need to find something that fits you, like Gail said, fits you really well, really nice fabric that's not going to fall apart in 5 months. And when you start doing that, when you start treating yourself the way that you deserve and get yourself a beautiful pair of shorts, whatever your lifestyle is, by the way. It doesn't have to be, trousers if you never wear trousers, but you might. You will start to up level the way that you think about yourself and how you adorn yourself. Because once you start wearing something that fits so lovely and you feel so good in it, putting on something else that doesn't fit in the same level, you'll start to not wear those anymore, and you start to level yourself up. And that is, you'll in a year you'll be like, why did I even hold on to those? Those look terrible. I don't even like you. Your eye starts to shift. Everything about your mindset shifts, and it all literally does start treating yourself well, and stop buying $5 pants from Old Navy when you can get yourself something that's a really beautiful quality for just a little bit more. And then that is your staple piece. And you don't need 16 pairs of pants. You don't.
Don't write in to us about Old Navy because I recommend
We don't, yeah, we don't, sorry. We have no affiliation with any brand, so please don't take that.
But you don't want to go get all your pieces there because
Yeah.
it's not going to work. So I want to give you another example. Like, say you decide you do want a navy top. That's going to work for you. You've got a lot of suits, or you've got a lot of outfits that navy top would work. There's a big difference in a navy plain button-up shirt made out of a cottony type fabric that has no sheen than a silk blouse in navy, or a sweater with this open weave fisherman trend going on in navy. Those are two different, very different things because you've added interest, added texture. If it's open weave like that, you can put another color under it. And you could even put it with another neutral, like navy and camel can be stunning.
Oh, that's beautiful. And let me just, it's because you're balancing that nice, very, very warm with a cool, and that could be a very beautiful, beautiful pairing.
But
Very
there's
opposite.
a navy t-shirt with a pair of khakis from Costco and a silk blouse and a beautiful pair of khaki linen pants. Those are two different things. Now, are we saying you have to be fancy? No, but let me even give you some examples on some of these pieces. Like, I might buy a black shirt, but the t-shirt has cuffs on the sleeves. It has an interesting collar. Maybe it's a V-neck with some studs around the neck, or maybe it's got a little bit of poof on the shoulder. You can find these solid neutral pieces that have a little something special about them in the cut, fit, detail, or fabric. And those are the ones that I really love in my closet more and stay with me the longest time. Like sometimes instead of a t-shirt in a color, I'll get a short sleeve sweatshirt. I love short sleeve sweatshirt. I love it because it's just that slight difference that elevates it a little bit. I mean, what I've got on today is a solid like dress.
It's so cute. The little zipper and the collar. I think the collar really makes it. It's just a really nice
There
shape.
could have been a black shapeless t-shirt dress, but instead
Yeah.
I've got this. It's got a little banded sleeve.
Yeah.
I would show you if I didn't have a dog in my life. It zips all the way down. It has a banded waist. It's a good scuba ponte type fabric, so it's not going to fade. It does not wrinkle. It has pockets and it stops right below my knee. So that is so much better than the plain shapeless t-shirt dress
Yeah.
I've had in the past. I feel so much better in it and it wasn't expensive. I just picked it up somewhere. And when you see these great pieces in your best neutrals, they're worth adding.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then this is a dress I could put on an ankle strap sandal and a nice earring and go to a lovely dinner. Or I can put it on with a sneaker and my silver hoops and go to a ball game. I love pieces like that in my closet, especially in my best neutrals, because when I do travel, my black and white pieces are going to go. They're
Yeah.
just really easy. And then I'll decide what's going to kind of be my color. Am I going with pinks or am I going to play in my
Mhm.
corals? That changes my makeup game. So I will give it some thought when I go on vacation. Okay, I'm going to sit around black, white, and pink. And that makes everything easy because like my jewelry, my tennis shoes, and I'll tell you when I'm doing capsule, I also have capsule jewelry. I have my everyday, what I call it, my uniform jewelry. It's a pair of silver hoops, my wedding ring, another silver ring, a silver bangle, and a silver charm bracelet. So if I'm not making decisions about jewelry that day, that's what's going to go on. So that's kind of the type of neutral. It's all silver. It's my favorite pieces, and it's ones I can just wear on repeat and require no thought.
Yep.
So if I'm traveling like this weekend, that's I've been gone for 5 days, and that's all the jewelry I took, those five pieces, and
I
I
did
wore
the
this.
same. Yeah, I did the same thing, except I just broke my gold hoops and like annoyed with it. But stand
I got a
yes.
source for you. Got a source.
Okay, thank you. But I will say what let me respond to one thing, and you might disagree, and that's cool. Regarding t-shirts, because it's very easy for someone to go, okay, that's great, but it's hot and I'm going to wear t-shirts. I don't really care what Gail and Jen say. And I would agree only in that you're right. T-shirts are pretty staple, especially when it comes to casual wear, hot weather, and even as layering pieces. We are just saying, don't go get something that's going to fade and become dingy and it just becomes a shapeless faded, sad t-shirt really fast, or, and they do make them, much higher quality t-shirts that might have a little bit of extra weight to them, nothing too much, that really hold their shape, that have hold their color and
Don't see
look
your bra.
nicer. Just look nicer. And that alone, then you can wear that with a nice pair of pants or the pair of jeans, up or down. Kind of what Gail's saying. Something that's so well done that it can be up or down. And now you've got this one piece that you can wear multiple times. So just try to avoid, especially white. If you want a white, you wear white, you love wearing white, don't get a thin white t-shirt that starts to look like a sad little undershirt. You want quality.
Especially if
And
you wear a
you can
molded
get that.
bra. We
Yes.
don't want to see the molded outline of your bra under your t-shirt. Like you
Yeah.
said, that does not look good. Now, I will say, if you fall in the edgy category like Gail, I've been known to come home and cut the collar off of the t-shirt,
We are not
turn
in
it
the 80s
into
anymore, Gail.
I do this stuff, especially for pickleball when I want to, like I get a t-shirt, but it just feels too bound up and too boring. I'll just cut that band off the top, whack the sleeves off, cut a little divot in the front,
Do you
and
remember
I'm
we
good
used
to
to do this in
go.
the 80s? In
It,
the 80s, we used
love
to
it.
cut the collars off of our sweatshirts so
I
that it
did
would all
that.
be ragged to ribbon.
You can take a sweatshirt and turn into a boat neck hanging off over a tank. Go for it. Knock yourself out. But also, I've cut off pants, denim pants, because that frayed edge is so in. I didn't like where they were hitting. They were not quite crop and they weren't quite long. So I just cut them off to crop and let them have a fray end. And they were great. Wore them for years. People asked me about them. I'm like, just cut them
Hot
off.
tip from Gail Scott, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're a
Get- get-
petite, just cut them off. They don't have to be researched or whatever. Just cut them off in your denim. But we want you to embrace neutral. So we hope you're hearing us. We just don't want you hiding out in them, wearing the wrong ones, wearing them nonstop only, because they're going to look best when they're either monochromatic or they're paired with color. They're not going to look best when they're just kind of a 2 or 3 neutrals, mush mash all the time, put in there together. That rarely looks best. You get, unless you're Lauren Hutton, who wears white and beige. You're not Lauren Hutton, though. So hit us with your questions. If you're watching us on YouTube, if you are just listening to the podcast, you can send an email to support@yourcolorstyle.com and submit questions that way. And we'll try to answer them in the next episode or two. And tell us what you want us to talk about, because we just sit around and kick it. There's no science to what we're going to talk about next. It's whatever gets on our mind. So we hope this helped you with your neutrals. Know what your best ones are. Invest some really great ones. Forget the rest. No, you don't necessarily need a navy dress. So until next time, go and get your Moxie on.
Bye.